Tamil Nadu speed papers, English shorthand high speed 150 words per minute, November 1985, paper 2. Please get ready. Start. Participating in the discussion on the Banking Laws Amendment Bill, a member of Parliament said, "Mr. Vice Chairman, sir, I welcome this fairly comprehensive bill which seeks to amend some of the existing laws relating to banking. It aims at safeguarding the interests of the depositors. At the same time, it takes cognizance of the legitimate interests of trade, commerce, and industry. Therefore, I am quite sure that this bill, when it takes the shape of law, would lead to the functioning of the nationalized banks on a more sound footing and would enable them to discharge their responsibilities towards the development of the country more effectively. Sir, the nationalization of banks has opened up a new era, and today even an ordinary man can take advantage of the facilities offered by the banks. The banking industry has expanded very much, especially in terms of increase in the number of branches. Recently, in our enthusiasm to see that the people in the rural areas get more benefits, we started a separate category of banks called rural banks. Now, I understand that a restriction has been placed to the effect that wherever there is a branch of a rural bank, a commercial bank cannot open a branch. I think it is not fair to impose such a restriction. The coexistence of a commercial bank and a rural bank in the same place will enable them to draw inspiration from each other. If at all there is a competition between them, it will only be a healthy competition and it has to be welcomed. In this connection, I also wish to add that the employees of the rural banks should receive better emoluments. At present, they are paid at the scales of pay applicable to state government employees, while the employees of the nationalized banks are paid at much higher rates. Of course, it is true that these employees of the rural banks work in remote villages in the rural areas. But in these days of rising prices, the cost of living is not low even in the rural areas. Therefore, I see no reason why the employees of the rural banks should not be placed at the same level as the employees of the nationalized banks. In the matter of pay scales, I request the Honorable Finance Minister to see that this anomaly is removed as early as possible. Sir, the state government have in recent months announced many laudable schemes for the welfare of the unemployed persons. One of those schemes is the self-employment scheme, under which an unemployed graduate can get a loan of 25,000 rupees from any nationalized bank and start a business. Though the Finance Ministry is not directly concerned with this scheme since the loans are advanced through the banks, I think I can utilize this opportunity to make a suggestion in regard to the implementation of this scheme. At present, a committee has been formed in every district to select the persons who are to get the loans. In the present arrangement, only officials are members of that committee. Though I have nothing to say against those officials, I have my own doubt whether all the applicants selected by them are really deserving persons. I personally feel that it would be better to involve the members of parliament also in the working of the district committees constituted for this purpose. However, I leave it to the government to look into the matter and effect changes in the system to the extent necessary. Sir, the provision made by the government for the appointment of non-officials on the board of directors of all nationalized banks is, in my opinion, a step in the right direction. Though the board of directors may make the right decisions at the top level, it is really the officers and the other employees in the various branches who have to implement those decisions faithfully at the field level. If they are to discharge their duties properly and also rise up to the expectations of the general public, a sense of commitment should be inculcated in them. For this purpose, I would suggest that every person who is recruited to serve in a bank should be made to go through a training program and equip himself to meet the new social needs. The program should be a comprehensive one, and it should be so drawn up that it is in tune with our social and economic objectives. While on this subject, I would like to make another suggestion. For making recruitment to all the nationalized banks, we now have a common banking service recruitment board. This board calls for applications by making advertisements in the newspapers. Those who send application in response to these advertisements have to pay a fee which is not less than 40 rupees. Besides this, they have to spend money on postage to send the applications by registered post. Later, they are asked to sit for a comprehensive examination. Most of the candidates have to travel long distances to reach the centers where the examination is held. In some cases, the candidates who are successful in the written examination are required to appear for an interview also. The expenses on all these items add up to a sizable amount, which an applicant from a poor family cannot easily afford to spend. Therefore, what I would like to state in the first instance is that the fee payable at the time of sending the application should be reduced to a reasonable sum. Secondly, in respect of the candidates who are not called for interview, half the fee collected should be refunded. Sir, I have a feeling that the Honorable Minister could have made a provision in this bill to enable the government to constitute a separate security force for the banks. Quite very recently, a large number of dacoits have taken place in banks in the capital city itself. Therefore, this is high time that a statutory provision is made for the formation of security force for banks on the lines of the industrial security force, which was formed a few years ago to take care of the security aspect of the public sector undertakings. With these words, I support this amending bill. Thank you.